Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. It's nice to see you here. If you're returning and if you're new, welcome. Please consider hitting that subscribe button below, and let's get to this. As you guys can tell with the title of the video, that this is going to be about my experiences with Western Governors University and my kind of review on the school. I do, just letting you guys know, I have one kid right behind me and another two over here playing games, so if you hear some distractions and stuff, that is why. I also have my iPad down here which has all my notes, so if I refer to it, that is why. If I look down, I'm referring to my iPad. So I go to Western Governors University. I am currently in my 8th term of Western Governors University. I'm only taking one class. I'm taking my in-classroom observation hour class, which is my pre-clinical experiences, and that is 60 hours of in-classroom observation hours with 15 active in there, and that's included in the 60. So, and I actually just finished up my hours this past week. I'm going to continue going to the school because I love it, and so I'm just going to continue to go, but I did finish up and got the principal's signatures. All my signatures are marked off. There are a few more things I need to do in terms of like a teacher interview and stuff like that, which if you want more information on all of that, go watch some of my previous videos. I do a weekly update on my observation hours, and I vlog every day after I get out to let you guys know what went on during the class. So I go to Western Governors University, and from here on out I am going to refer to it as WGU, just to save a little bit of time here. And I love it. So this is my 5th college that I went to. I started off in a private college in the Chicagoland area called Vandercook College of Music, and that was great. It was just really expensive, and I went there for a year, and I loved it and everything, but it just wasn't the best fit for me. I was going to study music education, which now I'm studying special education and elementary education, just letting you guys know. It was great and everything, but it just wasn't for me. And then I went to a junior college for a semester, and then I went to BYU, Idaho for a couple years until I met my husband and got married, and I stopped going to school for a while. I had 2 kids. In the time that I wasn't going to school, I decided it was time for me to go back to school. So I went to UCCU, Utah, not UCCU.
WGU.
No, I can't even remember the name of the college. It's in Orem, Utah. It's their big college. I honestly, for some reason, can't even remember. And I went there for a full year, and I was pregnant with my youngest while I went there. And in that time frame, I was really lost and confused at what I wanted to do. And I first started off going back to school for photography because I love photography. Yeah. I love making these videos. I love just all of that. But something was missing, and I knew something was missing, and it kind of hit me that I just needed to be in the classroom, that I needed to be with kids. And so I switched over to their elementary education program. And in that term, I took the one and only special education class that they had. And I realized that I needed to be doing special education. The problem was that school did not offer special education as a degree. And so my husband, who actually works for WGU, he is in their enrollment team. He actually does the transfer credits. He looks over transfer credits and says what does and doesn't come in. And he works there, and he's like, you know, there is a degree for special education. I was like, yeah, but it's online. How are you really supposed to get a good teaching degree with an online school? Like, I didn't think it was possible. But during that process of me taking the one and only special education class, I was required to go into a school and work with students with IEPs, or in the special education. And one of the teachers that I was in with and doing observations and like working with the students, she just graduated from Western Governors University, and she was one of the best special education teachers I have seen in a very long time. She was amazing, and she ended up being my oldest son's special ed teacher when he ended up going into kindergarten there. She's absolutely amazing.
Wait, what?
And so I stay over there. And so I decided that yes, It was possible.
Wait, second one?
No. What did I just tell you?
Sorry, I'm just a little confused.
Don't be confused. Go sit down.
You don't have after his eye down. Okay. Okay.
So I decided that yes, it was definitely possible to go to an online school and to get your degree in special education or in education in general. It was possible. And so it's like, let's do it. Let's do this. And so I applied to go there, and I started at Western Governors University 2 months after my youngest son was born. And so I've been going there since he was 2 months old, and he's gonna be 4 this year. And so it's been a long process, just like any college education would, and I probably could have gotten it done a lot faster, but I am a mom, and this is one of the perks about Western Governors University. So if you are a mother and you just feel like going into a classroom is too much for you, because I understand that. I did that for a year with my 2 older children, and it was very exhausting.
Yeah.
I promised myself as soon as I started going to Western Governors University that no schoolwork would be done while my children were awake. And I kept to that up until pretty much this year, because I have to go into the school for observation hours, and then I have to do my student teaching. And obviously those things have to happen when my kids are awake. But other than that, for the most part, there were some days that I needed to schedule tests during the day because I was just too tired at night to take them and stuff like that. But for the most part, I got all of my classwork done at night and did all of my schoolwork and my learning and everything at night while my kids were in bed asleep. And I was a mom 100% of the time while they were awake. And that to me was the biggest plus ever. The biggest plus. So I loved it. And like I said, I'm in my 8th term. I am going to be typing up my paper and everything and finishing this class off during spring break, and that's not next week, this upcoming week, but it's the week after. And so I should be done with this class here really soon and just be waiting to start my student teaching. So next thing, like I said, distractions. How much does WGU cost? So first of all, you're not paying for Western Governors through you're not paying by credit hour. You're paying for a 6-month period of time. Now that can change. Shane, please stop.
Yeah, I can stop.
So I'm just trying to pull it up here. Give me just a second. So you pay for a 6-month period of time, and then you go to school, and you're able to, let's see, trying to find this. Teachers College. 1 second, Ira. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so
Oh.
it's for a 6-month period of time. You can take as many competency units. They're not called credit units at WGU. They're called Shane, did you get a sucker in my hair?
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. Put the sucker in your mouth.
Okay.
Put it in your mouth.
Look.
Yeah, I see that. Now put it in your mouth. So you pay for a 6-month period of time. This is awesome. And for a 6-month period of time, it is $3,190 plus a resource fee. Shade, you keep getting the sucker in my hair. There's a resource fee of $145 and a program fee of $150. Shane Thomas, I will throw it away. So that's what you're paying for 6 months. So for a year, it's a little over about $6,500 for a full 12-month period. Now that's how much normally you pay. I pay less just because, like I said, my husband works there, so I actually get a 50% tuition discount, which is really nice. So I pay half of that amount. So it's really affordable because, like I said, you could take as many competency units as you want. So if you're done with one of your classes and you find out that you have, let's say, 2 months left, you can add another class on, and then that will shorten the amount of time that you have in school, which will make it so that you pay less to go to school. They also, I just found out, because usually when you're doing your demonstrated teaching or your student teaching, you have another additional $1,000 cost. It's $100 application fee and $900 to do the student teaching, and it really is like that in most colleges. They just got rid of that. So there is no longer a fee to do your demonstrated teaching at WGU, which is amazing. I'm so excited that I ended up having to wait until next term to do it, so I didn't have to pay that $1,000. So that's how much it works. And so the way it works is you sign up for 12 competency units at least, because you want to be full-time, and you can work through those as fast or slow as you want, but you have 6 months to complete them. So the faster you get through them, the more classes you can add on, which means the less time you're in school, which means the less your schooling is going to cost. So that's the benefit of it. But if it takes you the whole 6 months to get through all 12, that's okay. That's not a big deal. So you do your classwork, but there's no busy work, there's no homework, there's nothing like that. So there's tests to test your competency in it, which is why it's called competency units, which, like I said, is equivalent to 1 credit unit. And what you could do is you can either, what I would do, there's 2 types of tests. There's a performance test and there's an objective test. The objective test is an ABC choice test. And so if it was an ABC choice test, I would go into the classroom and I would take it the pretest to find out what I knew. What do I need to study? So I would take the pretest. And I would get back a study report and stuff. I'm like, okay, you know, I get to study on this stuff, but this stuff I really know. And I would usually do that on like a Sunday or Monday night, and then I would study all week the things I didn't know. And then Saturday night, I would take the test. And I would pass it, and I feel confident in it because I took the time studying the things that I needed to study and not necessarily do busy work with the entire class. So it is totally possible for tests like that to get through them in a week. Sometimes if there's a lot of stuff that you need to study, it'll take you a couple more weeks, and that's totally fine. And there are activities that you can do to help you study. I didn't do them very often, honestly, but that's because I didn't necessarily need to do them. You do what works for you, and you study and you do school the way that works for you. And that's the best thing about this is, like I said, no busy work. I don't learn through busy work. I learn through reading things and taking notes, and that's how I learn, and that's okay. I know my style, and that's fine. With the performance test, that's a little bit different. You have to write a paper or do a task in order to pass the class, and that's your test. Now you can write this task and submit it, and it might get sent back to you for revision, and you keep revising it until you pass it. Those classes usually took me a little bit longer, mostly because I hate writing papers and I would have to find the motivation to actually get it done. But once I would sit down to actually do it, I would submit it one time, and usually I would only, if it even got sent back to me, I would only have to do revisions one time, resend it in, and it was fine. And most of the time it was, I needed to reword something just a little bit different, or I didn't submit it the way that they wanted me to, little things like that. It was never something huge that I had to like revamp my entire paper. It was never something like that. And they're really good at giving you good feedback of what you need to correct and stuff like that. And so that was really nice. So that's how it works. Like I said, no homework, no busy work, nothing like that. There are tests, and that could be a performance test, which is, like I said, writing a paper or something like that, or an objective test, which is like your traditional ABC choice test. So I've already kind of covered over how it worked with me being a mom and a wife and everything like that. I made it work around my schedule. I didn't have to create a schedule of when I was going to be leaving to go do things until now. I made it work with my life, and I loved that. It was very flexible, and I absolutely loved it. Also, one thing I did not talk about Yeah. So another way that this works is you are assigned a mentor. Your mentor is your lifeline for WGU. So my mentor, other than this term, because I am in a classroom doing observation hours, so we're not able to talk as much, my mentor would call me once a week or once every 2 weeks, and we would go over my goals, we would go over my progress, we would set new goals. I would cry. She became my friend. Never met her in person, but she has become one of my closest friends, and I miss talking with her. I'm really excited because maybe this week she might call me, but for sure the week after we're going to talk on the phone, and I'm really excited to get that chance to speak with her again and to celebrate all of the triumphs that I've had within the last few months of getting all my hours in and me submitting this paper. I've taken 2 praxis tests, just a bunch of different things, and I'm excited to celebrate it with her. This makes it so that you're accountable. Sometimes it's really hard to do online school because you think, I have 6 months to get this done. I can just wait and put this off. But when you have somebody calling you every single week or every 2 weeks saying, okay, so what did you get done? It keeps you motivated to keep going and to keep progressing. And so I would set goals, you know, I'm going to have this much of this class done. I'm going to have studied for this much of the class. I'm going to take the pre-test for this. I'm going to write this much of my paper. And it was really nice to have that accountability. Now, sometimes I was really anxious getting on the phone with her the following because I didn't get to it. Life happened, stuff like that. But my mentor was really understanding, and she knew that I was a mom first and a student second, and that was the way it had to be. And so while she supported me in having those priorities, she also pushed me to make sure that I was getting what I needed to get done. And it was really nice just to, like I said, have that person that you're accountable to. So I love that program that WGU has. My husband went to the University of Phoenix for like a year, and he didn't have that, and so he did have like the homework and the stuff like that he had to get done in a certain amount of time, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't as personable. There wasn't somebody reaching out to him from the school saying, hey, you're doing great, or hey, we need to work on this, we need to kind of step up the game and stuff like that. And so it's really nice having that. And I've had a question on one of my videos about how do I feel Western Governors prepares me. I feel very prepared to go into the workforce. Now, I need you to also understand that I also feel this prepared because this isn't my first rodeo with the school. I used to be a paraprofessional before we moved to Utah, and I absolutely loved it. I also grew up in a family full of students with IEPs. I have 2 kids now with IEPs. One of them is for speech delay and the other one's for autism spectrum disorder. So this isn't my first rodeo with IEPs. It's not my first rodeo with anything like that. And I feel very prepared going into it. But Western Governors has definitely enhanced that feeling of, you know, I feel very prepared in it. I know how to go about doing certain things and stuff like that. So I don't feel shafted at all for not being in a classroom, learning from like a teacher standing in front of me and lecturing me. I've done most of this on my own. They do offer things called cohorts where you can virtually go into like a classroom and get lessons and stuff like that for the classes, and those are really nice. I did participate in those every once in a while if I was like feeling kind of lost in that class on where to go. But for the most part, I did most of my learning on my own, and that's okay. That's fine for me. Some people, it doesn't work very well that way, but that's why you would go to the cohorts and stuff like that and take more of an active role in those kind of things that WGU offers you. So I feel very prepared going into this. And I do have my placement set up for my half of my student teaching for the fall. I'm just waiting for the second half to be set up. My placement person is working hard trying to get me placed, and I'm sure it'll happen. I'm not too worried about it. It's gonna happen the way it's gonna happen. But I feel very prepared going in and doing that, and I'm excited to do that. And the last thing I just wanted to give you is my overall thoughts on WGU here. So I love it. As you can tell, I love it. I guess if there's any downside to this, you're not graded as like normal grading. There's not the A, B, C, D, F grading system. What it is a pass-fail. So you go into a test and it's either pass-fail. And so the reason why that can be a downfall is sometimes, honestly, I wasn't as motivated to strive for that perfect score because it was going to show up the same as a just barely passing score. And so sometimes I just got things done to get things done, and I was okay with that. Not all the time. Sometimes I really wanted to push myself and do better, but sometimes in my time crunch of just not having enough time, I was like, it's the same thing. And so that can be a downside, which also means that your grade point average isn't ever going to be like that 4.0. It's just going to, I don't remember what it's going to be. I think it's like a B average for everyone when they graduate. Which, like I said, I'm okay, especially since I'm planning on getting my master's degrees from the same school, and so I know that they'll take them. So that's pretty much the only negative downside that I would say really exists. Everything else has worked out great for me. You have to know yourself, though. You can't go into this if you're not a person who can self-motivate yourself and get it done, thinking that even with this mentor, you know, it's going to change everything and you're going to just get everything done. If you're not the kind of person that can do that, he's going to make that fall down. Then you're just not the kind of person for this school, and you have to know that. I am a firm believer that, you know, there's different learning styles and everything like that, and that's why they have, even for young children, they have public schools. That's my hair. They have public schools, they have charter schools, they have private schools. They have so many different choices. You guys need to throw all your garbage away. They have so many different choices for students because you have to know your own student and place them where is best for them. It's the same for you. You have to know who you are and what would work best for you. And if this is the kind of school that sounds like it'll be great for you, then go for it. I 100% recommend it to anyone that this would work for. But like I said, if you're not the kind of student that can do this or self-motivate yourself to do this, don't put yourself through it. Find a better option. There is one out there for you. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I love it. My kids are starting, well, one kid is starting to get really crazy here, and he did want to step in and say hi to you, but he can't do that until he throws away his garbage. This will get him to throw away his garbage real quick.
You done?
I am. I'm just waiting for you to throw away your garbage, and then you can say hi. All this garbage.